Okay, can we have everybody be seated and we're going to get started real soon. I want to welcome everybody and call our meeting to order. You can, it's pretty casual, so you can grab a cookie, grab some water, or there may be tea over there, stuff like that. Feel free to get up and grab something. And thank Mount Hermon Association for providing those cookies. So thank you so much, Mount Hermon Association. Right. All right. So I would like to ask Ron to come on up and open us up.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for coming. And a treat it is for us to be able to start our time addressing the call upon the Lord, thanking Him, and to ask for His wisdom, understanding as we consider the various things that come up. So let's start. Father in heaven, we thank you that you are the one who watches over each of our lives and collectively all of our lives. Thank you, Father, for the goodness that you demonstrate to us and for the way in which you give us the strength and your presence as encouragement. So thank you, Lord, now as we gather. Bless our time as we share amongst each other and look at the things that are common concerns for us all. We love you and thank you that you are the one who has made provision for us to be here at this time. In Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you. Well, we are all very thankful to be living here in Mount Hermon. And it's a beautiful place. We love living here. And I'm so thankful for the community that we can talk together. We can, talk about things that are going on around us and make decisions. Tonight we're not voting on anything big. Nothing. We're not voting on anything really, except for the secretary's report and the treasurer's report. But I'm delighted to have you guys here and that we're able to have a number of people share tonight. So the first thing we're going to do is the secretary's report, and unfortunately Maria Demers, who is the secretary, couldn't be here tonight. So I'm going to give it to you. And we requested that you look at those online so you can see last meeting 6 months ago was pretty extensive. And for me to read the minutes, we'd probably get out about 10 o'clock tonight. Yeah. So I'm hoping that you read the minutes, and we had Mary Edmond share about CERT and map your neighborhood, and we had voting on our bylaws, and I'm thankful that those passed, and we made a few changes. And so I would like to just see if anybody would like to move to accept the secretary's report. And if I brought a copy of it, if anybody wants to look it over, or you can go online to our website and read it there. But in the interest of time, hopefully you looked at it and you saw, oh yeah, it tracks with the video, because we have both a video and, in fact, we're doing a video tonight. Now this is not live, so no one's watching us right now, but we're going to put it on our site so those who can't be here tonight can be able to see what we're doing this evening. All right, just to let you know, we're not trying to be sneaky or anything. No, it's good. All right, so do you have a motion to accept the secretary's report? Do we have a second? Okay, so do we have any discussion on the secretary's report or questions that you might have? If anybody's read that. Okay, so let's take a vote. Everybody in favor of accepting the secretary's report, say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say nay. It's all right. It's voted on. That's great. So let's have the treasurer's report. So Sherry, come on up here. Let's give her a hand.
Okay. This is kind of like looking at a junior high's bank account. It's not a lot of money. I guess. So don't be scared. As of December the 27th, the balance forward was $113.40. Okay, and then our main income maker for all of the things that we want to do with the community is our Christmas dinner. And so we sold tickets for the Christmas dinner. online PayPal. And so all of that amount went to pay and then be split with the Mount Hermon Association. And so after getting, I guess I could tell you, so there was a deposit of $297.82 on the 27th of December. There was another deposit from PayPal of $973.88. And then we had paper copies that had to be made for $45 minus the other two that were the deposits. And then we had an amount that we had to subtract to pay Mount Hermon Association, which was $1,140. So our grand total at the end, can anybody guess? Almost double it. 210 cents. So that, at least we're not black. And
That's
red,
right.
the red. So that is, and we don't have to vote on anything, do we?
We do.
We do.
Yes, we have to approve it, so.
It's right here if you want to see.
If anybody wants to see that. Also, this last year, usually we split it with Mount Hermon Association so that it's like a fundraiser for us, but we decided this year to give everything to Mount Hermon Association so that we didn't have to raise the prices at all. And they got a little bit more because of the, results of COVID and stuff like that, not having enough staff, things like that. So we're thankful we had it.
Yes.
So, great. And so let's have do we have a motion to accept the treasurer's report?
I move we accept the treasurer's report.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Great. Do we have a discussion or anybody questioning anything? Okay, let's take a vote. All in favor for the treasurer's report, say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say nay. We got it. All right. Thank you so much. All right. So I just want to give a little bit of update of things that are going on. And ongoing, we have had our emphasis, our focus on communication and involvement and support. And trying to do what we can to communicate quickly to people and be so that people are not in the dark about things. And so definitely want to communicate and communicate positively too. You can imagine it's like calling names is communication, but that's not the kind of communication we want. And then involvement, just getting people, if anybody wants to volunteer for things, we would gladly have them help. Like someone maybe wants to help out with our online website. We had someone do that and they redid the whole look of it and it turned out really nice. So if you want to volunteer for some things, we'd love to have you. And then also support. We want to support each other and feel like in this neighborhood we have our backs and we're trying to do all we can to help each other. And also with Mount Hermon Association, there's children now that are during the week here in the main conference center because of science camp. And so we want to support Mount Hermon by being careful not to speed so that we don't endanger the kids. So just so you know, things like that, we want to just continue to be a support. And just so you know, with our social media, we do have a website and it gives the address there on our agenda. And also next door, it's a great way to just talk with people, ask questions, and find out who has the latest, dip for some kind of, chips or something. I don't know. And with Facebook, there's not as much activity on that, but we do have a Facebook page. And then if you want to be on the mailing list, and I recommend everybody be on it, it's called the General MHC email list. And you just have to email mail@mounthermoncommunity.com and just say, put me on the list. And we'll make sure that you're on the list and that you get, emails that are general. And it's not that often. I try to make sure it's like not every other day you get something, because it's not, you don't feel like spam, but only those things that are important to do. And then let me just ask you, those of you who are getting it, do you feel like it's a good, pace that we're sending things out?
Yes.
Feels good? Okay. Because we could do something almost weekly, but we'd rather make it almost monthly, type of a thing. So, And also, let me see, there's a number of lists. I don't know when is a good time to talk about it, but there is a general email list, which we want, of course, everybody on. But this last year, we also generated a emergency list and tried to have people, and Lori's going to talk about that coming up, but that is an emergency list. And then Brian is going to talk about another list that is a Mount Hermon Association emergency list. That's a text thing, so that you can get text quickly and know when something's coming up. And they also have a general email list too. So I'm thinking we might just put them down on here so you know what they are. But all of them are private. Nobody gets access to that except, like the two that Mount Hermon have. Mount Hermon Association, actually, I said it, Mount Hermon Community. The two that Mount Hermon Community have are private, and so Mount Hermon Association does not have access to that. And the addresses that Mount Hermon Association has for all of you, and homeowners and such too, we don't have as a community. But we do, as supportive as we are, we share with those. And something happened not too long ago, and we wanted to get the word out quickly, so we used our lists. Our board used our lists, and Mount Hermon used their lists, and we realized we needed this text thing to be a little bit more so that we could communicate better that way. So we're doing a lot to try and help with communication. And before the evening's out, I'll put some addresses up here. The last thing I wanted to mention is that the Fun Day, because of COVID-19 and because Mount Hermon is going back to full-time, like 100% trying to get the whole summer going, the staff was not able to do some of the activities we were thinking in the field. And plus during that day, there's a special group that's going to be in who will have the field also. So we were trying to be creative. We said, let's go to Ponderosa and we'll have a pool party. And I thought that sounded great, but we just found out that Ponderosa is not going to be open. It's going to be under construction. And so we won't be able to use Ponderosa. So we do have possibility at Redwood Camp, but we just realized we're not going to decide by tonight what's going on. So if you could just be patient, it says to be determined. So we're going to continue talking about what we can do, and we're not sure the date yet either. So it might be better to have it, it's probably somewhere in August though. So does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So just so you know kind of what's going on. It would be nice. I like things all wrapped up and in a bow and saying, okay, this is the date, this is the time, this is all the activities. Because I'm like that with my kids too. Okay, we're going to Monterey today, and we've got everything in line. But if it doesn't seem to work out, we're just going to wait and be patient on it. We'll work it out. Okay. Anybody have any questions on anything that I've presented so far? Okay. I think the last thing just for me as far as our community kind of announcement thing is be careful of speeding. I've had a couple people come to me and say, people are going pretty fast in the park. Just be careful. I don't know, I'm preaching to the choir. You're probably the ones that are telling everybody to slow down too. But just so you know, it's good to go to speed limit. Well, I would like to have Fire Chief Robert Gray come on up and share with us a little bit about what's happening in this community and the Felton Fire Protection District. Let's give a hand for We don't have microphones, so you have to speak up.
That's fine. Hope my dress doesn't offend anyone here. I wanted you to see what I look like outside of work. No, they actually just came off of a CPR call, so I was all dressed up for you guys and it went to hell. So, anyways, I just wanted to talk about a few things. I haven't seen you guys in forever, it seems like. The TV or the computer just doesn't cut it. So, glad to see us all here in person and we can talk. Some exciting things have happened since we last were able to meet. One of which I'm very excited about is that I've had talks with Board of Supervisors McPherson regarding the old Hanson Quarry that abuts parts of Mount Hermon here. I believe it's Azalea, Madrone, and Ridge roughly, that are close to that quarry, and it has been deemed as a sensitive habitat, and therefore we haven't been able to do anything with it. Following the CZU fire, there was a change of heart that, and a lot of information coming out that prescriptions can be done on these types of lands and not affect the habitat that we're trying to protect. In fact, some scientists will say that it actually helps the habitat because the normal cycle of life is for fire to come through and burn everything, and then it starts over again, and it doesn't get to the point where it's completely overgrown. We've done a good job of stopping the fire, but that's kind of broken the chain of the way nature works. So there is a lot of studies out there that are showing that it's healthy. So as part of that, we've reached out to the Board of Supervisors and said, this is a real big problem we need to talk about because most of Mount Herman is in a sensitive habitat for the June beetle, the sandhill habitat. And we don't want to disturb that, but we also don't want to burn down everybody's house either. So we had a very productive meeting with Scotts Valley Fire, CAL FIRE, the Resource Conservation District, Bruce McPherson's office, and the county environmental scientists regarding this. And it was agreed upon that we can do something to create a fire break between Mount Herman and that old quarry property. So you may be familiar with some of the work they've done along Grand Hill Road up by Roaring Camp. I want to go on the record and say that I wasn't a fan of burning the piles. I know that I've heard from a lot of you. It wasn't my call. It wasn't CAL FIRE's call. It was State Parks with that. So I just threw them under the bus. Sorry. But at any rate, I have heard and I understand and I feel your sympathy as far as burning piles. We're looking at different options for disposals if we were to do a project up here. But the big thing that kept coming up is who's going to do the work. So it's a little premature at this point, but I wanted to take this opportunity to at least daylight it to you guys that there is talks going on as far as coming up with some sort of a fire break between the quarry and Mount Herman to give us a little bit more defensible space. I just feel terrible for the folks that are living on there and they've been calling and like, oh, we just want to do something, but we can't touch that. And I feel for you, so I think we're actually getting somewhere with that. The sorts of things that we'll be looking for when that time comes will be just basic labor, all cutting and hauling stuff to a place where we may be feeding a chipper or something like that. There'll be certain things like trimming the trees and everything will have to be somebody who's trained in trimming trees, so is familiar with the prescription. But the hauling of the brush and such like that and loading it whenever we decide to dispose of it, we'll need some help. So I'll be calling on the community for any resources that you'd be willing to donate. I would be willing to write a receipt for your donation of your time if you have a company or a business that you would write it off on. But equipment's another thing. If we end up hauling away stuff, we might need dump trucks and such. So it's really, like I said, it's premature at this point because we really don't know what they'll allow us to do and not allow us to do. But we have gotten the agreement from all parties involved that we're going to sit down and try to come up with something for that area to reduce the fire risk. So, is there any questions about that project or others like it?
Does it go all the way around to the end of Conference Drive?
No, it would pretty much be. It's more up towards kind of Azalea and the backside there up to the cross. Kind of that backside where I guess you'd say the east side of Mount Herman. But if there's other areas that you have in mind, I'm always interested in hearing. Some of them I can get help with, others I can't. But I will hear all of them and I will try for all of them. So.
On this side of the fence, on Mount Herman's property by the cross, we know there's somebody that's been volunteering and taking out a lot of room plants and so forth. So my question is, will that person get any help? Are there any volunteers who will be pulling out more of that? And secondly, are they gonna just let those piles lay there? Can they be removed? Because just pulling them out, there's still fire fuel laying there in a pile, so. I just kind of, wondered if you knew anything about any plans or.
Great question. Sometimes we're surprised by the piles.
Yeah.
And we got some busy volunteers that are in there getting
Yeah.
rid of that invasive species. And the difficulty is you can't dispose of them in the landfill. They won't accept it. So the getting rid of it aspect makes it a little more challenging, particularly with the Scotch broom. But
Well, and that there is a lot of different schools of thought right now with, burning has always been kind of the go-to. Burning has its risks. It also has the smoke and just some of the negative impacts. Now, there are places where burning is the best prescription because they burn off, like the observation deck area. They'll burn off an area to basically restore that habitat. So it's not necessarily all fire control, it's partially fire control, partially habitat restoration. As far as, piles of brush like that, chippers have been something that's been talked about. However, chippers will spread that seed all over the place. So it's, a lot of the mechanical devices that we would normally use may not be the best use. Something that there's up right now up off in the San Vicente Redwoods, the land trust, they're using what they call a burn box, an air curtain burn box. And what it is it's like a dumpster where you load in material and you burn it, but it has an air mixture to it that essentially burns it with no smoke. It burns 100% efficient, and so I've yet to see it. That's been thrown out there as far as an option for disposal. But again, talking about what we do with invasive species, we want to mitigate or get rid of it all. But if the dumps won't take it and we can't burn it and we can't chip it, it's like, what can we do? So that's part of the discussions that I want to have with the environmental scientists to find out, is there a place that we can take all this and dispose of it that's separate from the regular landfill? I'm not a scientist. I don't know everything about vegetation and that sort of stuff other than it burns and how to put it out. So, I'm trying to solicit some ideas. So if there are some community ideas, I'd be interested in hearing them.
Well, or they need to hear a place to take it that's safer to burn it.
Yeah, underneath the trees didn't really seem like a bad idea. So.
What's kind of your timeline on this? Are we talking about 6 months, a year?
I would not expect it for this season. I would say probably going into next year. These things move slowly. There's environmental studies that need to be done that ensure that we're doing the right thing and everybody's signed off on. So this will take longer than the average project, but it is encouraging that we're even having a sit down at a table to discuss this. So. It's been a wall that I've run up against for years, and finally it's starting to give way, and we just had to burn close to 90,000 acres to get it across. But so we're working on that. Like I said, the details, how we're going to get rid of it, how we're going to treat it, how long it's going to take, are still unknown. But we are moving in that direction. I just wanted the community to know that we've taken on the task. And we'll stick with it until we get some sort of an answer of what we can do. And then reaching out to the community as well, with Mount Herman, if they're able. But we really want to make this beneficial so no one group is shouldering all of the responsibility for it, so it gets done. And another part of that is the other half is making sure it doesn't throw back. That's always a problem we have is, the invasive species, the broom and whatnot. There is I don't know how you describe it. It's poison for the plant, but not for the environment. They're citrus-based that will mitigate a lot of the broom and acacias and such. So if you're doing something like that, it's going to be, because the habitat sensitive, we want to keep that in mind, but we also don't want it to grow back, and it'll be back to what it was in a couple of years. So, looking at that long-term goal as well.
So are there any thoughts about, or do you have any comments about whether, if it's hard to figure out how to get rid of the Scotch broom, to put a halt on pulling it? No?
It's better down than up.
It is better down.
Yeah, because Scotch broom will dry out and it won't have quite as much liquid or sap in it. It'll also, if you're laying it in a pile, it's dense and it doesn't have the airflow like, standing broom would, where it can just rush through there. A pile will smolder and put up a ton of smoke, but it won't move as quickly as the brush that's still in place and growing. Even though it's dead and on the ground, it's still a better solution than just widespread broom. So I still think it's better to get it down. You want to, if the piles get too big, then yeah, maybe, I don't know who's doing that. I'm sure that I don't want to know who's doing that, because they would probably get in trouble. Even though they're removing invasive species from that habitat, they still haven't had the whole process of scientific review. So I applaud them for taking it on, but I also don't want anybody to get in trouble. So that'd be a shame. But any other questions in regards to that particular project? Like I said, I wish I had more info for you, but I wanted just to bring it to you that it is in its infancy, and hopefully we'll get somewhere with it and get you guys a fire break, because that is one of my concerns, is just getting a nice fire break for the community, so you can at least get out, but ultimately to protect your home. So, okay. Next on my list was the upcoming fire season, which I'm sure everybody wants to know what's going on. To be honest, we don't know where it's going to burn. We never do, but I can pretty much tell you that we'll have another busy fire season based upon the rainfall and across the state, the rainfall or lack thereof. I'm really happy that we got 2 inches here over the weekend. That was nice, but unfortunately it won't fix the drought. So we still have drought stress fuels. We still have a lot of the same issues we did before. But every little bit helps, and I'm not gonna speak that. So we'll take whatever we can get. The Felton Fire specifically, what we're trying to do, we have just put in for purchase of a new vehicle. It's a fire truck that is based off of a pickup truck type of a frame, and so kind of looks like a work truck with 300 gallons of water in it that can have 4 people in it. The idea behind it is that that type of a vehicle, like a pickup truck, can get into some of these tight spots much easier than the big full-size rigs. Especially when a fire might be starting and it's just small and it's running and you want to get up as close to it as you can and get water on it before it keeps going. So they're what we refer to as a Type 6 fire engine. All the different types of engines have a typing based upon equipment and size and capacities or capabilities. So the Type 6 is a very versatile unit, and it'd be great for anywhere in the San Lorenzo Valley. So I'm pretty excited. I spent quite a bit of time looking into it, shopping for it, getting bids. Nothing's cheap anymore, so getting money together. But we did place an order. Much like everything else in the supply chain, everything's very much backlogged. The average fire truck build is about 24 months right now. We're going to get this one in hopefully 10 months. So by doing a little bit of magic and tagging on to an order that was already in process for another agency, they added our build into that, and so it moved us up a little bit. So the fact that the vendor is QTAC, if anybody is interested. They're out of Chico, California. So we're really excited about that. It's something that we're looking forward to, and a big help to our tools for quick suppression. So we're also, you may or may not know, we are also staffing people at the station, so we have a crew available, at least 2 people all the time. it's a work in progress because it's all based upon volunteerism. But we're really trying to get the response times down and get that first unit out of the station and it's on the road to whatever your emergency is, whether it's a medical emergency or it's a fire or something like that. We want to get that help done as quick as possible. So we're really working hard on that. And kind of going into some of the preparation, I guess the preventative measures. Many of you have expressed and utilized Audrey Dawson and Captain Dawson's reviews of the fire safety of your house, neighborhood. That is still available to anyone who wants it within the fire district. We are more than happy, she's more than happy to come out and talk to a single family or the entire neighborhood. It doesn't matter, just as long as you schedule with her, she will come out and do that. So that's a really good resource for kind of getting an idea of what you need to do. We are not in the ticketing business, so if we find something, there are always exceptions to the rule, but in general, if we find something, we want to try to come up with ways to mitigate the problem and not just fine you for it and hope that it goes away. We're really looking at alternative solutions for helping out people, whether it's a financial barrier or you don't have a truck or something like that. We're really trying to find solutions for that. So that's if you are interested yourself, or if you know somebody who's interested, you need to pass Captain Dawson's name on, and you can reach her by phoning the fire station. And I'm going to leave a couple of my cards and some Firewise and stuff on the table over there for anyone who's interested. Otherwise, you can reach us at the fire station, and we will be happy to answer your questions on that. So, really we're trying, like I said, beef up the response, cut down the response times and get the right equipment to get in there. So we're really trying to take this serious and prepare for the long haul, because this isn't going to go away anytime soon. So I'm feeling very, very reassured, I guess you could say, that we're going in the right direction. So you can feel reassured too. Lastly, Firewise update. I want to talk to you guys a little bit about Firewise in the communities and such. I know that some of you had attempted to start to get Firewise communities, but it was kind of a big nut to crack as far as, Mount Hermon's a large area with a lot of homes. So, speaking with Captain Dawson as well as Lynn Sestak at the Fire Safety Council, the idea was kind of thrown out there that if there's homes, a neighborhood, even a street, that wants to become Firewise and they're doing all the right stuff, we can have multiple groups within Mount Hermon. It's not the end of the world. If you you only have to have 7 homes to have a Firewise community. So if you can get that together and make a community, then great. Little bits at a time, and every little bit helps. You don't have to become a Firewise community. I'm not saying that you do. If you do all the work and you just don't want to deal with the paperwork and all that other nonsense that goes along with being parts of these programs, then do the work. That's really the bottom line, what we're looking for. But if you do get in with Firewise, there's some benefits, and every day it seems as though there's more benefits that are coming up. When I first started pushing the Firewise communities, it was just a great model to follow. Pretty simple, straightforward to get fire safety amongst neighbors, and to maintain that in the years going forward, because everybody can make a big push this year, but then as the memory fades of the big fire, people will also fade as far as their enthusiasm. But insurance companies look favorable upon it, which I always kind of got a chuckle at. It's like, well, great, my insurance company looks favorable on it. I'm not sure what that means, but I still got to say that. But what that truly means is that a lot of folks have been canceled for their insurance. If you're within a Firewise community, and I've written letters as such to insurance companies that have tried to cancel people within Firewise communities and said, they are safe, they have an evacuation route, and their community is very proactive with vegetation management through the Firewise program, they will oftentimes be reinstate the insurance of the insurer or not cancel it. No guarantees, different insurance companies have different policies, but I have seen some turnaround with that, that in the past, it's been no difference. So there is that advantage. There's opportunities for grants. Grants are a lot of work. I'm not going to lie to you. They're a lot of work to get them and to administer them and see them through. But they're also very competitive. So you may be putting in for a grant every other day and not getting it because you're competing against other Californians that are also applying. So being a Firewise community gives you a little bit of a bonus points, if you will, when you go into that pool of grant applicants. So if you are looking to do something major, maybe even partially this project that we're talking about at the quarry over there, you could apply for grants and potentially get a little bit of a boost from the fact that you're a Firewise community or a series of Firewise communities. We have had several communities within Felton become Firewise, and it was with Lynn Suspect's help. It's been very, very streamlined. So I encourage anybody that if you have a group of 7 or more homes that is interested and somebody that's willing to lead them, to get in touch with me, and I will put you in touch with Lynn at Fire Safe Council, and she will walk you through the process and make it easy and fun, probably. She's a fun person, so. But yeah, again, I don't want you to think that that you have to be a Firewise community or else we're not going to care about what happens to you. We always care what happens to you. It's just trying to offer you different avenues to protect your home, as well as potentially give you some savings or not to cancel on insurance and rents. So Captain Dawson is very much very well informed on Firewise, and if you have questions about it and want a no commitment consultation, operators are standing by and she'll come out. So, but she can give you those types of things, and a lot of the cases you've already done a lot of the work. So just keep that in mind and going forward. So. And other than that, if you see something, say something. As they say with terrorism, but with fire it's the same. If you see smoke and it seems like more than just a barbecue, or you think it might be a fire, then call it in, because it's always better to have a dry run and go out there and nothing happens than to be like, I saw it, but I didn't think it was anything, and next thing you know, it's 58. So if you see something, phone it in. The worst that's going to happen is we'll go out there and not find anything, and that's what we want to find. So I've gotten several phone calls at the fire station during fire season saying, well, there's smoke, but I don't think I need to call 911 because it's not that important. And it's turned out to be a fire, and so it's like, it is important. It is important. We're there for you. You pay your taxes, use the service. So. And we will be more than happy to come out and take a look. So, with that, that completes what I wanted to talk about tonight, but I can entertain some questions. Yes, sir.
More on the statement, Chief Gray, but just wanted to let everybody know that it's the first one you guys have your board meetings that the public can attend if you want to be a little more up to date on fire.
Yeah, and that's, our administrative type meeting. We talk about, things we're spending money on, our budgets, strategic plans, that sort of stuff. So kind of the higher level stuff. They get pretty boring at times, but there is definitely some good information that you can do if you're wondering how our fire department works. It is a volunteer fire department. There's only a couple of us that are paid be there. And so it's a trick to keep it staffed. And, you know, as time goes on and people have to work more to survive here, it's getting harder to find volunteers. And so we're always looking at different models, much like what I'm staffing now, with having at least 2 people there. So I'm guaranteed that engine will be out the door within 4 minutes of dispatch. And hopefully I'll see shortly thereafter. So yeah, there's a lot of those types of things that we discuss, and you can keep up to date on what's going on.
I was gonna say, I've actually, my neighbors got to experience the wonder of, I have wonderful, Audrey.
Yeah.
And so I guess I can share that later. Or, but
Oh.
that was it, yeah.
I was going to give you a moment to do that in just a minute. That sounds really good. Yeah. Sounds good. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Let's give them a hand. Really appreciate that. I did want to, because as we continue with planning for disasters and planning for fire as well, we want FireWise to continue to see what we can do. And already we have some good things happening in Virgine's area. There's more than 7 homes, and so they're going to be, as an example, going through this to become a FireWise community. You want to say something about that?
So we'll be in communication more, but last spring through Audrey encouraging me to get, she talked about her like neighborhood walks and get a group together in a neighborhood. And it ended up being just a great positive experience. She was very informative, and we all thought that you generally know about defensible space and everything, but you learn so much from her incredible personality, informative, and you just saw exactly how she fight your fire at your house and what you've done. And as we were walking through the homes, everybody became so adept at, oh, look at that fire break you got there. She's got a great sense of humor too. So, she'll tell you, oh, that whole, what we have to cut off and get rid of to save your house. But very, very practical on what you would, if you're going to do some things later to your home reasonably, what to do. But it was extremely positive. The responses I got were little, we said, wow, Virginie, she is informative, she is wonderful. And it was like and that's a way to get, and we need to continue to really do it now that we've got, it's okay to not be rogue and try to do it in a small group.
Right.
Not Herman.
Well,
But,
yeah.
it's a way to get, if you have Audrey come to your home, get a group of neighbors and go together, because you're never identified as, oh, a house that has to have something cut down or done, or when you join FireWise, it's not that you do the application, your address is not on there.
It's just the neighborhood,
It's
the
neighborhood.
name and
And
factories.
so people were saying, we're already doing this, so even if you didn't do the application for FireWise for a while, it's still got people getting these ideas of getting things done in their home and realize they could use that as their volunteer hour. So we need to, and that will still work, but it gave direction. And sometimes you see things that people are doing in their homes, and which is cool, or you realize, oh, I wish they heard Audrey just talk about, an idea.
Yeah. Well, that's what I love.
Whichever kind of product they would have gotten, but it's good to get a group.
And it is, and we learned from these meetings as well. In fact, there's the neighborhood up in Monpico that has invited her to come back out because they used they built a new fence and used the fire-resistant stain.
Yeah, she talked about that.
And so, which, was something that we talked about quite a bit, and then this person did it, and so wanted to share what their experience was. So.
Good examples. And that's why I wanted to have Virginie just say something, because you're kind of leading the way, and we're going to be watching to see how that works. That'd be great.
And then if anybody wants any, just the form, letters that got sent out, or just.
Yeah, if you have some information, if you want to hear more, Virginie's going to be here for a little bit afterwards. That'd be great. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Great.
Thank you for standing it too.
Yeah, unfortunately, I can't stick around. I need to go home or go back to the station to finish up for my call.
Sounds great.
I'm going to leave some of my business cards here over there on the table, along with a couple of these FireWise pamphlets. If you don't get one and you want one, we have plenty more at the fire station. I just didn't want to leave a ton here and have to.
Awesome. We appreciate you taking the time to do that.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Glad to see you all. Thank you.
Continuing to think about disasters and what might might happen, how to support each other as a community. I'd like to have Lori Shipley come on up and talk about Map Your Neighborhood. Let's give her a hand.
So thank you so much. I hope that you were able to join us during our last meeting in the fall where we spoke about, we had a guest speaker from our local CERT chapter in the Santa Cruz County. Ms. Edmonds gave us a presentation about Map Your Neighborhood and what it's about. In Mount Hermon, what we're doing is we're going through two primary phases. The first phase that we're working with is collecting information, contact information. If you haven't already provided that contact information, you're welcome to do so. It's completely voluntary. But I'm happy to report we have a lot of members of the Mount Hermon community who have provided that contact information. Like Reggie was saying, it's not shared with anybody else except the Mount Hermon community, and so we would only share that with local law enforcement or
Fire.
or fire. So that would be the only time we would share that information. So if you'd like to learn more about that, you see that there's a link where you can do an e-form, and that will be directly put into our contact information, and you can more easily get, rather than trying to type it in, you might have more success by going to the Mount Hermon Community website, and you'll see a link to Map Your Neighborhood. I believe it's up in the banner part.
You can get to the category on the right is Map Your Neighborhood,
That's
and then you can get it from there.
Okay, very good. So you can learn more about it there. Also, on the Mount Hermon Community website are some links to the CERT program so that you can learn more about it. It's a very well-respected and appreciated organization where local community members like you and me just kind of get some basic skills about what to do should there be a disaster. And so part of it is communication. So if you were part of our evacuation during the CZB fire, a lot of what was creating trouble for people was communicating with one another. And so I think that's fabulous, by the way, that Mount Hermon has an emergency text program in place. I think that's fabulous. So that will help a lot. But this is more about how can we, as your nearby neighbor, help you out. So this is really the idea of Map Your Neighborhood is to get people who live in closer communities, even smaller than a Mount Hermon community, but little pockets and little areas within the Mount Hermon community to support each other. Because most likely, if there's going to be a disaster, it's going to be your nearby community of your nearby neighbors. Those you can pretty much see out the door that can hopefully help out. So the second phase, after getting our collection of contact information, our second phase is to look for volunteers who'd like to host a Map Your Neighborhood event. And what is a Map Your Neighborhood event? That's where you get smaller pockets of individuals in your neighborhood. And as a host, what you would do is open your home and invite the people in your local neighborhood to join you for a fabulous and entertaining presentation about Map Your Neighborhood. And here's sort of an example, and I'll leave it out so you can take a look at it, of what every member that participates would get and receive. And in this you have an introduction, and then there's the 9 steps about what to do following a disaster. So for those of you who might be old enough to remember the 1989 earthquake, for example, wow, I really wish I had this here. So there's some nice clear steps about what to do should there be a disaster. And then there's a lot of times, I sometimes imagine if there's a huge event, I need to be a hero and put on a hard hat and have these amazing muscles and strength and skills. But really, sometimes all it means is maybe you're really good at working with children and you can play games with the kids to keep things light and relaxed. Maybe you have a really great tool chest. That would be my husband. He has a workshop and he's got tools. He doesn't need so many. But maybe, he can say, hey, I've got a whole bunch of tools, but nobody knows that because it's all in our garage. So by getting together and having just a nice casual get together with your local neighbors, you learn about, hey, I can bring this to the table. I'm really good at working with children. I'm really good at working with tools. I have experience working in firefighting. It's just a way for you to talk about things that normally you might not just talk about if you meet each other over at the post office casually. So what we're hoping to do is to get hosts and what that commitment would be from you is to first get a little bit of training, and that training is really just about learning about how to provide this forum for people to come to your house. And that would probably be, you would probably put in an hour and a half for that. And that is pretty much going to be watching a video, and if you know about playback speed, you could even do it double time and it'll go faster. So you could play that back. And so I'm looking for ways to shoot at the same time. And then probably you could allow another hour and a half to have the actual event in your house. It may go longer depending on the relationship you have with your neighbors. Maybe it will go even longer because you have such a great time and you want to have a barbecue. It's up to you. That's the thing is, if you volunteer to be a host, you can run it your way. All we ask in exchange is that you deliver the information about how everybody can help each other out. Then with that, what I'll do is I have a little sign-up sheet, old-fashioned sign-up sheet, and I've got just a place where even if you're just interested, no commitment, okay, this is just, I'm kind of interested, I kind of think it would be fun to do this. We're thinking if we could have these hosting events between now and September, hopefully more like in the summertime. I'm kind of thinking I'm going to have mine in the summer because I'm a teacher and I have a little more flexibility in the summer, although my summer's getting filled up really fast. But if you're interested, just write your name, the best email for me to contact you, and your phone number. I'll probably reach out to you by email, and I'll put in the subject field CERT, Map Your Neighborhood, so you know I'm not somebody who's just trying to sell you something. And then the other thing I wanted to just mention, and I was really inspired by Captain Gray, is it right? Captain Gray, about working together and equipping our community. Excuse me. So I was going to encourage you, if you're kind of curious about what CERT is all about, this is the manual I received at my basic training I went through a couple of years ago. It was before COVID. And during COVID, we really couldn't have any training for individuals who'd be interested in learning about it because of it's a really hands-on experience. But now they are starting basic training again in person. And those are going to be taking place over in the Aptos area, April and May. So if you're interested in learning more about that, I can give you some more information about how you can find that out. It's really just pretty much just search CERT in Santa Cruz County, and it'll come up and give you some information about that. So are there any questions about what it would be like to host one of these events? Or about what Map Your Neighborhood is about? Oh, you're just like my students. I know you're thinking questions, yeah.
Two things is that I've watched the video, and it is pretty interesting. It's good to watch. It's very encouraging how the leaders it shows like people are around and they're in their home, and you get opportunities to talk to each other. And you've mentioned that you wanted to do it like in the summer because you could help out too. You know, you could help out these groups. If someone wants to host, you could maybe, help them.
Yeah, I'm here to help out. I think that would be something that's really clear, is this is not something where it should be something that is a welcome thing. It shouldn't be a burden for you if you're interested in being a host. And so if I can help you do that, I can certainly try to figure something out. And I don't know, maybe we can talk about perhaps doing a mass hosting where maybe, we've got a couple adjacent neighborhoods and one house isn't enough. Maybe we can figure something out as a nice location where maybe we could do like a big shindig. So something like this, where we have a big group. So that would be fun. But the idea is it's all about community. It's all about helping each other out. A lot of it is just, oh my goodness, somebody across the street looks like they need some help, and we already have talked to them. We already know. We already have an understanding about how we're going to help each other out. So, all right. Yeah.
When you say pocket, how many homes would you anticipate?
I think that they have recommended 10 to 20 is about. I think that they don't want it to be too large in terms of too large of a span. Like I was thinking about breaking it up by our areas, but our areas have a lot of houses. I kind of go by the general idea of how many houses would we be able to get to easily if there's a disaster. If it's something where it'd be really difficult to support, for example, if there's children who are left at home alone, mom's over the hill still at work and she can't get home, it would be nice to be able to provide a close-by support. So I don't know if there's a hard and fast rule, but I think I remember a number between 10 and 20. We want enough so that you can comfortably get people in your house and get to know each other.
Right, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, great question, thank you. Anybody else? All right. All right, well, I will put an example of the map of neighborhood and documents that you'll be passing out if you're a host, and I will put the interest form, and I'll be hanging out after for a few minutes if you're interested in learning more about CERT and registering for the basic skills. You get a cool hat in the end, by the way, a real hard hat, and a cool reflective vest, so yeah.
You want to pass it out, just that list right now, just gonna pass it around?
Yeah, I can just pass it around, sure.
That'd be great, okay,
Yes.
thanks, let's give her a hand. Thank you.
There you go.
All right. We're going to continue, and Bill, why don't you come on up? This is Bill Fernald telling us about registration for this summer. Let's have a big.
Good evening. Great to see you all. One point of clarification earlier when we were talking about the fun day. Reggie and I and Ryan, we're working on some dates. The date that we had talked about at Ponderosa Lodge ended up not working out because of the construction, but not because Ponderosa is closed all summer. We will be running youth camps up there this summer. It's just when we get to that later part where we thought we had a good date, that's a construction day, and that didn't work out. But we're working on it. We're going to come up with something so we could all celebrate together. Speaking of summer, it's not that far away. April's Friday, so here we go. And officially, things get started here, what you know is our family camp summer season, on Sunday, June 12th. That's when it all gets rolling. So if you've been a part of our summers before, you know we have a program called Summer Seasons Registration, which has been a great program, and we're going to continue that on, although we're going to do a name change since we have the opportunity to bring it back to life. And we wanted to tie it into this group so it makes more sense for those today and those in the future. So from Summer Seasons Registration, it's going to be renamed the Mount Hermon Community Summer Pass. It's a fun read to it, right? Mount Hermon Community Summer Pass. And what that is as Mount Hermon's running its family camps here at the Make Conference Center, we want to make available opportunities for the local residents of Mount Hermon to participate in different parts of that experience. It doesn't go for our youth camps. By California Camping Code, we can't have visitors going in and out of youth camps. So those are off limits to all of us as residents, but Mount Hermon Family Camp here at the Conference Center has some great opportunities. So all of you, as residents of Mount Hermon, are eligible for a free summer pass for the basic, and that involves the majority of things that we're offering. So what that means is we'll have you register at a certain date, you'll get name badges, and then you'll have access to the auditorium teaching sessions in here, the seminars going on throughout the week, of course the fountain and the espresso and the bookshops, that's year-round for you. Field House Meadow, Monday through Saturday. The Game Room and the Field House, Monday through Friday. The trails. Some great discounts for you in the way of adventures. The Canopy Tour, which normally runs about $99 on a midweek and $109 on the weekends. For residents, it's $60. And the Sequoia Aerial Adventure Course, which runs at $79 and $89 per person, is $40 for residents. So great deals there. And that's all in the basic program, and it's free. We just need you to register. And the reason for that is we need to distinguish that you're supposed to be here. We bring in hundreds of additional staff to run our summers, and not everyone's going to know you. And so we just want to get you registered, and then you understand the guidelines to the experience. We get you a name tag and you're in. There's a premium package that includes all of that plus two more things, and that comes at an additional cost. And what that involves is access to the swimming pool and the boats, and also 1 week of family camp programming. So it doesn't involve, lodging and the meals, except for the Sunday night barbecue. But it does involve access to everything at family camp during that week, including if you've got kids, you can put them into the child care, day camp, junior high or senior high programs. It's really, really great. The charges for those are being set right now, but just as a baseline, back in 2019 when we last offered it, it was $150 per adult, $110 per child with a family max. So you get to a certain point, you just don't charge anymore. And just in the week-long worth of day camp or childcare, that's easily half off what you would pay anywhere else, plus all these other great experiences. If you're paying attention and you've done this before, you'll notice that swim lessons and boot camp were not a part of my list, and those just aren't going to be available. And that's has everything to do with staffing challenges. We're very much still, with the rest of the United States, in a labor challenge, and so we're just, if that is something that can be reinstated, we'll do it. But right now it looks to be very difficult in the waterfront areas. We will go online to take registrations beginning Monday, May 2nd. And there's no rush to, get on at 8 a.m. exactly. And we've got plenty of room for you. It's just we had to pick a date that our team would be ready, and it's going to be Monday, May 2nd. And we're going to get that information out to you by, if you were a seasons registered before, we'll use that email. Plus, we're going to send Reggie the information. He'll get it out to you through the Mount Hermon community. And it will be a Mount Hermon Community Summer Pass website exclusively. And you can see all the rates and sign up right then and there. And it'll give you a date in June when you can pick up your name badges at the front desk. And I don't know if there's anything else. Oh, with the exception of, there was a time when the Mount Hermon Conference Center summer ran solid from June all the way through Labor Day. And that's almost the same, except for in the last several years, we've been having guest groups come in late August to fill some of the tough weekends. And they're just Friday through Saturdays, and they might have exclusive use to some of these things. And we'll keep you informed at the sign-up process so you know exactly what that is. If you have questions between now and May 2nd, just call the front desk. Brenda, they're all helpful, but Brenda's really in the know on this, and she's been doing this for years. And she knows many of you, and you can ask her some questions then. I'm just bringing you a little update tonight, and that's exactly all I know right now. So, thank you.
Thank you so much. Is there a question?
Yeah, just some years they mail us that information. Will we also get that on mailing? this
No,
year?
it'll all be through email,
Okay.
and online. Yeah, thanks for asking.
Sounds good. All right, I'd like to ask Brian Hayes to come up to give us an update with Mount Hermon Association and tell us some other things. All right, let's get going.
Well, good evening. Again, it's been love always when Chief Gray comes. I just want to take him home and cook him some dinner. He really does tremendous work on our behalf, and I sure feel more assured with that kind of support. And Reggie and the board, thanks for always making these connections. I think it's so huge keeping that relationship tight and close, and look what it's proving to be. So good stuff. Well, you've also heard about something that we call internally Zingle. Is the name of this messaging service. Anybody used Zingle before? Any app like it? Basically what it is, we started using it for our family guests. I don't know if it was based out of the hotel industry, but pretty much a way to have contactless communication with your guests that stay at a place. So it's proven very helpful for guests that just have a little need. Cabin, they don't want to run all the way in. If you have a cell phone and you have service, you can text that message. So we've really created just a whole new relationship and communication strand with our guests. So when we had some recent situations, it became very clear. It's like, that thing works pretty well with us. What can we do for the community? So that's exactly what we've done. If you got your last billing statement, I think it was the January statement that went out. you should have received the invite to kind of take part in this voluntarily, again, like with these other databases. You don't have to be, but if you have a cell phone, if you're single, or you and your spouse, or there's other family members that you think would be helpful to include in this database, we'd love to capture that data. Because what we will do is push those communications out to you as things happen. So the first one we used just a couple of weeks ago with some of the paving and water project we were doing. Many of you received that text. Anybody receive that? Great. Well, you are some of the lucky 73%. I was told the number of people that are in the database. So not people, but the house numbers. We have 73% already, which isn't bad. We'd love to get 100%, right? Because as we've heard, that the more we can communicate timely,
If you're already in the database.
well, you wouldn't be in it unless you filled out that form and did the online Google form. So best thing to do, we're going to have it up here. I can give you an email and you need to contact that person. There will be at each billing cycle, what we will do, just as part of it, we will send this form where you can complete that information again. And again, we'll just keep constantly reminding you. So it's, you want to write it? You got it writing, right? It's Rebecca Crucy, many of you know, REBECCA, Crucy, dot Crucy, dot KRUSEE. KRUSEE at mounthermon.org.
Great. At, and then it would be completely Mount Herman. Put her
There's an M there.
.org. Okay, there we go.
I'll do it next time. Thank you. So again, it's totally voluntary. If you don't have a cell phone, some don't, there's other ways that we will continue to communicate. There will be sandwich boards around the different entrances if it's in the event of a disaster or some upcoming news, some road closures that we need you to be aware of. We'll do those sandwich boards out there. We'll do posts on the post office as well. That on the board has been really helpful. If we need to get into the flyers, that's very challenging, as you may have found. Making sure it's a lot of homes and to hit and to cover. So we are hopeful that this will just provide you all very, very timely information that's helpful for you to kind of plan around and work around and schedule around if that's the case. Questions on Zingle?
Brian? Yeah, we got the email about the Parkway water thing. We're in that system, is that correct?
Yes. You received a text about the road and water project. That was about 2 weeks ago, I want to say. Then you're in Zingle.
What if you received an email, not a text?
That would be through, we still are working with, largely through the Mount Herman community as well. If we need to push some of that out, that's something we'll contact Reggie, and with that list that you all maintain there, you all have been generous in helping get further word out. We just want to hit you as many times as we can. We have had, only when appropriate, we have had some folks opt out of Zingle already, so I don't know if we've overwhelmed them with one message, but they felt it. And so if that's the case, that's fine too, but just make sure, again, you can have as many cell phone numbers as possible for your household. In fact, it would just be better than you're certainly covering your children and whoever else may be living at home. Okay? Great. Touched on the only real update I will bring on the most recent project has been a water line project. As you know, a couple years ago we did the Grandview Terrace Loop, putting in a new water main. So what we're trying to do is upgrade our infrastructure continually. It's an old infrastructure, so we're going from sometimes 3/4 inch lines, 1.5 inch water mains in some older areas. So now we have, 2 inches, but primarily we're pushing 6 inch through where we can and all the new replacements. And then putting new water meters in each connection and things like that. So we're making our way through. We've just laid almost 2,000 feet of new water main, which services the area across. The area serves off East Siene and also LaGuardia off of Mount Herman Road exit, the entrance over there. It's been super helpful. It fuels up and powers the fire hydrants as well. So where we have need for those, we'll continue to drop those, in particular where we have the 6 inch and the full water force and volume of water. So we will continue to kind of make strides in that. That's part of what you all are doing through those different capital reserve funds and whatnot. And with our contribution as well, those coming together allow us to make these continued improvements. So hopefully you'll continue to notice some of those things. Comments, questions?
Are you going to do any water conservation efforts, or do you have lots of water, doesn't matter?
Yeah. The answer is yes to the first. I just caught it on the news. Governor put us into stage level 2 already, just effective today for the state. And then certainly geographically within the state, I'm sure we will be receiving different notifications as we get into the summer. Generally speaking, our wells have really been producing well through these horrible droughts, but we don't want to rely on them as well. They get strained. One of them, they go in and out of service, and that's why we have multiple wells. But it's something we don't take lightly and want to make sure we have it when we need it. So, yeah, just like I know I'm going to start doing my part, we can all start doing our part in whatever ways that looks like. All right, thank you very much.
Let's give him a hand. Thank you for coming. And if you have any questions about the community with the Mount Herman Association, you can take them to Brian Hayes, and you can just call Mount Herman, the front office, and leave a message, and Rebecca Cruzy can get it to the right person, either Dale, if it has to do with roads, trails, or bridges, or Brian has to do with other things too. So, all right, next meeting we're going to be voting on a new president and a new secretary. So Tim Gallagher is the chairperson of that committee. Let's have you come on up. Let's give him a hand.
All right, yeah, you heard the last meeting, there is a nomination committee, and so we are going to take nominations now. So I think that went out in the email, but as you see, we have a new cool email where if you want to nominate somebody for president or secretary for that time in, what's the date?
For what
the meeting in the fall.
It'll be October, probably the third weekend.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what it is yet.
So over the next 2 months, so over the next 2 months, we're going to take nominations, and then our team, Leanne's here, Marilyn's here, Greg's here, Bill and Carolee and myself will meet, and actually if you nominate somebody, like if somebody nominates Mark Pohl, my good friend and neighbor, we would actually interview him and get some feedback from the neighborhood, and then we'll go ahead and nominate somebody for the president and somebody for the secretary. So if you have any questions, feel free to email, or if I'm walking around, ask me, but feel free to email us with any of those nominations now over the next 2 months. All right, that's kind of our plan. Anybody have any questions on that? Was I clear?
Yes.
There you go.
Awesome. And there's a lot online that we have that explains kind of like, what the person kind of, we're hoping would be, like friendly and things like that too. You can look at all that up. And also, this is the new address to communicate with the nominating committee, nomcom at mounthermancommunity.com. All right. And Ron is kind of working with that committee too. So, do you have anything you want to mention? Okay. Well, that brings us to any new business. Does anybody have any new business they want to bring up or announcements to be made that were not on the agenda? Now it's a free time to say something. We do have a gentleman that specializes in septic systems, and he's offered to help out people. And I think in the next email that goes out, I might, list his name because he's excited to be able to help. Are you the person? Wait, stand up real quick. So, what's your name? Eric, that's right, great. So let's explain that you have a history of working with septic systems.
Yeah. So, almost everybody in Mount Irving is on a septic system. The rules changed. The County Environmental Health Department is the agency that regulates septic systems. The rules changed last October. So, there are new rules in effect. I guess my suggestion to you would be make sure that you're pumping your septic tank out regularly and make sure that it's being used properly, because under the new regs, if there's a problem with the leach field, you're going to wind up putting in one of these expensive treatment systems. And I've been through that process myself, so I know exactly how it works. I know how expensive it is. But yeah, I'd be happy to share any information if there's any questions about septic systems. I've been involved in them for many years, so be happy to. And then I sent some information to Reggie that kind of about the care and feeding of septic systems. And if you're interested in that, and it can be posted on the website or something.
That'd be great. We'll post on the website. Also, I'll have his email in the minutes from the meeting, so you can be able to ask any questions.
Yeah, just take care of it, because if you don't, it's a lot of money.
That's great. Thank you so much. Yes, well, he's good. It's very helpful. That sounds great. Well, you guys, thank you so much for coming this evening. I'd like to have Ron come up and adjourn us.
All right. There's plenty of cookies over there if you want to take any home with you. Just leave the tea and the coffee here. So thanks for coming, everybody. And it's about 8:20, a good meeting. We had a lot of speakers tonight. Let's give thanks and have a great night tonight. Father, I want to thank you that you watch over us in the daylight and watch over us in the nighttime. Thank you, Lord, that we do have so many interested people in our community to help us understand, as homeowners, how to negotiate this and that as they come up. And particularly, Lord, we just call up the whole concern over the drought and the ongoing saga of the pandemic. We know that those two things are ever out there at this point in time. And so we ask for your presence to bring patience and wisdom and knowing how to carry ourselves in such a time. And we do pray for Mount Hermon that they, as an association, can bring in the number of staff that they need to operate things this summer. And we know that how much more efficient and effective things will be when that is provided. So we ask for your permission in that way. And then, Lord, thank you that you have blessed each of us here with the capacity to own a home here and to operate it day in, day out through the months, through the years. And enable us, Lord, to know how to come together as we've been suggested tonight with Firewise and with Map Your Neighborhood, how we can even do a little bit more to respond to those things that will come unexpectedly. So thank you again that you are the awesome God who watches over us, and we beseech you to continue that and to continue to give us wisdom from within, and then give us love for each other to know how to treat one another in the context of all of this. We love you in Jesus' name. Amen.